So, in the last episode, we did a regular breathing exercise with drawing, and this is a great way of taking some time just to calm down and get more in tune with what your body's, how your body's feeling, and centers the mind. It kind of brings you more into the body and stops you from following certain thoughts. But sometimes, some days, you're already, rather than calm, you're occupied by feelings or thoughts which are more distracting. And then it can be quite problematic to go right ahead and do a kind of very calming sort of meditation drawing like that. So what I find works well when I'm feeling as I am today, sort of preoccupied or almost regretting certain things, or nothing major, but then a different kind of drawing can really help with that. It's a more expressive kind of drawing. So what I'm going to recommend doing is, if you take a pad and a pen, what you want to do is just draw and see what happens with the pen itself. So we're really not going to try and follow any particular pattern or line. We're just going to actually try and avoid anything which looks like a kind of reproducible or consistent thing. So in many ways we're kind of avoiding the regularity that we had last time. We're kind of admitting that we don't want to do that right now. We just want to be pure expression and not confined by any kind of structural rules. Now, even if your pen drops out like mine does, from time to time, it doesn't matter. In fact, the imperfection of it is rather fulfilling. So we just draw anything that we want, and here I'm really going much more densely into a part of it. But if you think I'm going to fill the whole image like this, then you've got another thing coming, because that would be somewhat predictable. So I'm actually going to just switch to some squares because I feel like it. And I've done them quite regular, so I'm going to be quite annoying and do a kind of not even a proper square. I'm going to do something weird. And now this may seem pretty sort of low key, but it's quite cathartic actually. It's sort of, you're meant to do it one way and you're just disobeying the rules, and I'm even going to go over the existing lines. So apologies if you have any sort of OCD characteristics, because this is really going to try and be as annoying and selfish, if you like, selfish to what I want to do right now, and not what the conventions of drawing or sensible illustration would have in mind. And this could be described as a doodle, but the real art to it, if there is art to this, is to avoid, every time you feel like you're doing something sensible or sort of systematic, is just to kind of avoid doing that. Which, you could argue is a form of being systematic if you're always being unsystematic. But I like to think that there are areas in which you can pursue this subject which are true to its roots. So we're really just gonna do some weird stuff. We're gonna do some really poor circles, some sort of half swirls, donut. Yeah, let's do lots of donuts. For this one, I'm just gonna obliterate. And you should find that it's quite fun and that you're behaving in a way which you're not normally able to behave. That is not in the full spectrum of what you can do, but you'll find that doing this just on the page does help release some of those more chaotic or emotive responses which might be preoccupying you. You know, you may want to go and shout at that person who drove their car too close to your bicycle, or you are annoyed with the letting agent or something for not fixing the doorbell or some other highly important thing. Maybe they didn't have enough straws at the shop, or maybe a bird pooed on your car, that's a good one. Or maybe someone asked you in Sainsbury's whether you were in the self-service queue or if you were in the till queue, and you replied that you were in both queues, and rather than accepting that point, the person viewed you with disdain. These are just a few of the trials and tribulations of a day with me. But still, there could be more serious things. Anything that's sort of preoccupying you, some sort of emotion that you can't just go and act on because it's not appropriate. You know, if I could go back to Sainsbury's and give that person's disdain, you know, the real focus of my attention, then it wouldn't be a worthy use of time. And you know, they're just trying to get through the queue like I'm trying to get through the queue, so no sweat, you know. But even more serious than even that, this will help you just get that kind of extra aggression out of your system and move on. So we're really spazzing. Well, I'm probably not allowed to say that. We're really doing things in a somewhat chaotic way. You know, feel free to use colour as well. Felt tips, marker pens. Really, the bigger the better, but don't go crazy. Don't use a marker pen that might bleed through the page to the next one, for example. It's not worth it. It's not worth the trouble. You can see here, I've actually smudged it a bit. Whoa, that would really annoy me in a normal picture, but I'm just gonna do some more of that. Yeah. That's disgusting. But I'm very happy to be sharing such a page. I could probably just do these for days at a time. I wonder if that would get me YouTube stardom. I expect there are some there's some very good doodlers online. I'm a big fan of Chantel Martin, though I wouldn't really describe that as a doodle, but she follows the line, as she puts it, but her stuff is much nicer than this. You know, there's real structure and form that comes out, but it's also free. So I'll put a link to her Instagram in the comments, but I really recommend her as a person, an artist to watch out for. So I feel like this page is coming to a close, and what you notice is, even though it's complete chaos, it's quite actually aesthetic to look at once you're done. But that's not something you keep in mind when you're doing it. But in either case, I shall scan this in and I'll upload it to my Instagram at DomWaif. I'll put the link to that in the comments. and I'd be interested to see if anyone does their own one. I'd love to comment on it, or even repost it on Instagram if anyone goes as far as actually doing one of these. But it's very cathartic, and so even if you don't show it off to the world, I encourage you to do it. You just need a pen and a piece of paper. Okay, so on that note, et voila. I will post further videos on different aspects of meditation and drawing in the future, but you can really see this as a kind of freeform type of expression. So in terms of meditation, this could be what you do in a sort of meditation day or a retreat day. There's a part where you just, dance around and wave your arms and waggle your legs, and that's kind of getting, they call it energies out of the body. But yeah, it's just, it allows you to get through sort of frustrations and channel things in a way in which it's not negative ultimately. Yes, we've soiled this page with our drawing, but it could be worse. So on that note, thank you very much for watching it to the end, and if you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe, as that will motivate me to do more and more. So thanks again.